Hello, everybody. This is Professor Mahendra D. Sirsat. Today, I will be speaking on key aspect of publishing research articles. Uh, I was in academics for almost 38 years, and what I observed during last 38 years is most of the PhD students and research scholars are not able to publish their data in the Journal of International Repute. If you agree with me, then we need to see like what are the probable reasons for not publishing data in Journal of International Repute. जैसे कि मैंने कहा कि स्टूडेंट तो जेन्युइन तो होते हैं बिकॉज व्हाट आई ऑब्जर्व इज देयर आर स्टूडेंट इन रिसर्च लेबोरेटरीज एंड यूनिवर्सिटीज ऐसा नहीं कि सभी स्टूडेंट जेन्युइनली काम नहीं करते there are a good number of students in the universities who are working very genuinely, very honestly. But in spite of that, they are not able to publish their data. Most of the students are not able to publish their data in the Journal of International Repute. Now, if this is the truth, then we need to understand what are the probable reasons. And during these last 38 years, as I mentioned, I observed that there are these seven prominent reasons. Number one, inadequate literature review and issues in the problem identification. जैसे कि स्टूडेंट जब पीएचडी के लिए रजिस्टर करता है या कोई टीचर शुरुआत करता है रिसर्च के लिए, the literature review is going to play a very important role. Somehow, there is a serious concern about how the literature review is to be done. क्योंकि बहुत सारे टीचर्स एंड बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स ऐसे हैं, रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स ऐसे हैं कि उनको लिटरेचर रिव्यू कैसे करते यही पता नहीं है. And then if you don't do proper literature review, you will not be able to understand what is happening elsewhere, because the ultimate purpose of doing literature review is to identify research gap. And once you identify research gap systematically, you will be able to plan your research. And this is how the research literature review is going to be very important. Somewhere, sometimes students are able to do literature review correctly, but they don't formulate hypothesis correctly, because that is also another problem. Because if you don't formulate hypothesis properly, then you will not be able to get the useful data, because we know that hypothesis help researchers to keep themselves on track, and therefore formulation of hypothesis is very important. Moreover, these days most of the reputed journals always see like whatever data we are submitting or whatever data which has been produced by a researcher, whether that data has any societal relevance. That is also equally important, because if you don't have a societal relevance of your data, you will not be able to publish your data in good journal. What I mean is the journal editors will not look into your data very seriously. नाउ सम टाइम व्हाट हैपेंस, क्योंकि मैंने ये भी देखा कि लिटरेचर रिव्यू तो बच्चे ने अच्छा किया है, हाइपोथेसिस भी सही फॉर्मुलेट किया, सोसाइटल वैल्यू भी वो डेटा का है, बट समहाउ द अगर एक्सपेरिमेंट डिजाइनिंग करते समय, मतलब व्हाट एवर डेटा यू यू विल बी प्रोड्यूसिंग आउट ऑफ योर रिसर्च, अगर डिजाइनिंग एक्सपेरिमेंट अगर सही नहीं हो रहा, इफ यू आर हैविंग लॉट ऑफ बायसेस व्हाट आई मीन इज, बिकॉज हम पहले से मान लेते कि आई एम गोइंग टू गेट दिस काइंड ऑफ डेटा, और आई एम गोइंग टू गेट दिस काइंड ऑफ नेचर ऑफ माय ग्राफ्स. Because if you are introducing biases right in the beginning, you will not be able to design your experiment properly, and there will be substantial ambiguity in the designing of experiment. And if we have ambiguity in the designing of experiment, obviously it will lead to a substance, I mean the substandard data which you will be getting out of your experiment. And therefore designing experiment is very important, and that might lead sometime to substandard data, and then you will not be able to publish that data in good journal. The fifth reason what I observed is improper mapping of strength of researcher with the problem. Because what I mean is, because you see, I always ask my student, like whenever they want to start the research, they need to do a SWOT analysis very seriously, because SWOT analysis will help us to understand what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses, what I can do and what I cannot. Right? That is very important, because once you know your credential, once you know your strength, then you will be able to pinpoint like what problem you will be able to address. And therefore, this proper mapping of strength of the researcher with the problem is very, very important. Because because I always tell my student that if you really want to have the societal relevance in your hypothesis, in your data, what you need to do is you need to keep on identifying the societal issues on one hand, and then you should know what are your strengths. Once you know the strength and once you know the problem, you need to properly do the mapping of your strength with the problem. And of course, like once you identify the problem, once you identify your strength, then you need to prioritize as well, because you need to set the priority. Because you see, like let us say you have a 6 different societal issues pertaining to your area of researchers, area of expertise, and you have, let us say, 5 different strengths. So you need to see then like which strength mapping to which societal issues. And then once you have the proper mapping, then you need to know like which is the burning area, which area is going to be very, very important, which need to be addressed on highest priority. And therefore, once you do the proper mapping, then you need to prioritize as well. The sixth problem which I identify is the poor presentation of research scholar. Let's say, for example, the research scholar is very genuine, very honest. He has done extensive literature review. He has formulated hypothesis very clearly. He has identified social relevance and accordingly started working. There is no ambiguity in designing experiment. He has done proper mapping as well. But somehow, if you don't have a presentation skills, because presentation skills are also very important, you need to convince reviewer that yes, your topic is novel. You have got something novel in the topic which you have investigated. That is also very, very important, and for that purpose you require very, very strong presentation skills. And and if you have those skills, you will be able to publish your data. And if you don't have that, then you will not be able to convince reviewer. And the last reason, which what I observed, is the credential of the research scholar. Because nowadays, whenever research paper goes to any reviewer, first of all, reviewer we quickly start searching your credential. Because if let us say the first author is MD Sirsat, the reviewer is going to search what kind of research articles this first author has published. But sometimes, like if you are a researcher first time publishing your data, you may not be having enough research credential to your credit. In that case, your PhD advisor credential is going to be taken care of. And therefore, whenever your paper goes to reviewer always take a short quick review of what kind of research articles have been published by your research group. So it might be from your side, or it could be from your research advisor as well. So these are 7 probable reasons why the students are not able to publish their data in reputed journal. Now I'm going to tell you very important aspects, like key aspect of publishing research articles in Journal of International Repute. Now if you look at these 3 points, these points are very, very important. ये मैंने 3 पॉइंट कैसे आपके सामने रखे, जैसे कि फॉर एग्जांपल, whenever your research paper goes to reviewer, so reviewer क्या देखेगा आपके रिसर्च आर्टिकल में? So reviewer is going to see these 3 important points. Number 1, novelty. Number 2, social relevance. Number 3, the credibility. जैसे मैंने बताया कि novelty is going to be very, very important, which the reviewer is going to critically assess your paper for this particular aspect. Now the question is how this novelty aspect can be incorporated in our research article, right? I'm going to tell you on from next slides onwards. Second point is going to be social relevance. How social relevance or national important? I mean, what I mean is, whatever data you have published, whether the outcome of your research data is going to be useful for addressing one or other societal issues, that is going to be very, very important. And to do this, to ensure this, I told you what to do, right? And again, I'm going to tell you like how societal relevance can be ensured in the research article. I'm going to tell you the next slide. And the third point is going to be credibility. So these three aspects are going to be very, very important. We will see one by one. First of all, novelty. Now, if you really want you to be to ensure that the your research article have this feature, inbuilt feature, I would say, novelty. Now, the question is how to do that. ये बोलना बड़ा आसान है. Novelty. What is novelty? Novelty means something new, right? Because you have something new in your article, like research article, whatever data which you have published or which you have undertaken during your research investigation. You were the first researcher who has undertaken this data first time, right? And therefore, how it is to be ensured. I'm going to tell you, like, if you could follow these four important steps, I'm sure you will be able to ensure novelty in your data. Now, there are different AI tools these days the researchers are using: ChatGPT, Consensus, Cloud, and Gemini. But I would nothing wrong in using all those AI tools for doing literature review. But I would recommend that all research scholars not to use these AI tools blindly. First of all, you should do these activities very rigorously on your own, and then later on, uh, for fine tuning your literature review, you can do literature. I mean, yeah, you can make use of literature AI tools. Otherwise, आप अगर AI tools right from beginning अगर आप AI tools अगर use करना शुरू करोगे, then you will be caught at one somewhere. At one point in time. The reason for that is these days AI tools are being AI detection tools are being used very extensively, and if you are totally depending on these AI tools, and if you do your literature review by using only solely on these AI tools, it would be very difficult for you to move ahead. And therefore, my suggestion would be you rigorously follow these steps, and then later on you can use the AI tools to sharpen your literature review. The first point is rigorous literature review. You need to do a very rigorous literature review. What do you mean by rigorous literature review? Rigorous in terms of quality, rigorous in terms of quantity. When I say quantity, quantity means, because you see, as I mentioned earlier, literature review is meant for understanding what is happening elsewhere, what others are doing. We need to understand what are the research gaps. So you will be able to understand what others are doing or research gap only when if you take a substantial review of or if you take a review of substantial number of research articles. So at least what my in my opinion, usually whenever the researcher PhD student used to come to me for literature review or for doing PhD with me, I used to ask them to do the literature review of at least 200 articles to begin with, because that is very, very important. Once they have the fundamental understanding of the subject, obviously, if the student is beginner, is first time doing literature review, he has to understand the fundamental aspect of those research articles. I mean, the research topics. So first of all, the fundamental understanding is very, very important. Once the student is thorough in fundamental understanding, then at least 200 research articles need to be reviewed by the to more than at least 200. What I mean is at least 200. 200 is not absolute number, उससे भी ज्यादा हो सकते, बट मिनिमम 200 से 300 आर्टिकल स्टूडेंट ने देखने चाहिए. सो क्वांटिटी rigorous, I mean the quantity should be very, very high. Rigorous in terms of quality as well, because once you have, because it's not only the number, it's not only the number of journals, the, what kind of journals you are referring, because you see these days there is a overflood of various peer-reviewed journals in the scientific field. There are many online journals available, and they are claiming that every journal editor, they are claiming that their articles, their journals are peer reviewed. So only having peer reviewed is not going to be enough. Therefore, before identifying journals for doing literature review, you need to identify Journal of International Review. Now, what are the measures of Journal of International Review? And therefore, I will, before I move further, I am going to tell you these are the uh, 4 journal metrics. These journal metrics are very, very important. How to identify Journal of International Review? Apart from these 4, there is one more, that is yearly impact factor. So yearly impact factor is always take care of the past preceding 2 year citations. पिछले 2 साल के citations का review करता है yearly impact factor. So therefore, yearly impact factor is first parameter. Second parameter is going to be a site score. Site score is always going to take a review of last 3 years citations. पिछले 3 साल में वो जर्नल में कितने क्या क्या citation जो article publish हुए, whatever articles that journal have published, how many citations that articles those articles got. That is very important. Next point is 5-year impact factor, because 5-year impact factor is also equally important. 5-year impact factor will take care of the citation from last 5 years. Next factor is HJR. HJR is very, very important. SCImago Journal Rank. This is because you see, yearly impact factor, site score, and 5-year impact factor, they will take care of the citations, the quantity. What about quality? The quality of, like, because it's not only the citations, it's not only the how many journals have cited your paper, but which journal have cited the paper. What was the quality of that journal? HJR is going to take care of the quality of that journal which have cited your paper. So HJR factor is also going to be very, very important. And the last factor, 5th factor, is SNIP, SNIP. SNIP is a source normalized impact per paper. So let's say like you have a journal, and then the journal has in every issue, let's say like 12 issues, and in each issue there are 50 articles. अगर किसी जर्नल में 50 आर्टिकल है, तो 50 के 50 आर्टिकल को एक जैसे साइटेशन नहीं मिलेंगे. Some of the articles may get more citations, some articles may get less citations. SNIP is going to normalize the impact factor, and therefore SNIP is also equally important. So these 5 factors, 5 journal metrics are going to be very, very important: yearly impact factor, site score, 5-year impact factor, HJR, and SNIP. If you are having these 5 parameters on the website of journal, it means that that journal is very reputed journal of I would say the Journal of International Repute. Now the question is, which impact factor? That is also equally important, because आजकल आप देख रहे होंगे कि I mean there are many online journals as well and offline journals as well, कि वो आपको कहेंगे कि you can submit your article along with reviews also. तो अगर ऐसे substandard journals अगर चूज करेंगे, तो it is going to be very, very difficult for you to publish your data in good journal. अब बहुत सारे जर्नल्स आपने ऐसे भी देखे होंगे कि वहां पर वो खुद लिखते कि द इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर ऑफ दैट जर्नल इज 10.5, 12, 13, 15, समथिंग ऑफ दैट सॉर्ट. लेकिन आपको मैं बताऊं कि देर इज वन स्टैंडर्ड आई मीन वन एजेंसी. Earlier, the Thomson Reuters was the agency which was looking after the impact factor of journal worldwide. Nowadays, Thomson Reuters has been replaced by Clarivate Analytics. So Clarivate Analytics is taking care of the journal impact factors worldwide, and this is one of the very, very reputed organization worldwide and has got wonderful reputation as well. So if you are having Thomson Reuters impact factor or impact factor from Clarivate Analytics, then only that impact factor will be considered as a reputed international reputed impact factor at international level. And therefore, whenever you are talking about the impact factor, that impact factor has to be either Thomson Reuters or Clarivate Analytics. Therefore, this identification of journal of international repute is very, very important. So whatever topic you will be having, what you should do is you should identify at least 10 journal of international repute having all those 5 metrics. मतलब जिस जो जो मैंने पैरामीटर्स आपको बताए, वो पैरामीटर पे जो फिट बैठने वाला जर्नल्स है, ऐसे आप 10 जर्नल आइडेंटिफाई करिए. Now, the third step is only identifying journal of international repute is not going to serve the purpose. उसका रीजन ये है कि मान लो आपने एक थॉमसन रूटर इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर वाला जर्नल आइडेंटिफाई किया है जिसका इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर लेटेस्ट से 20 है, बट द प्रॉब्लम इज उस रिसर्च जर्नल में आपका जो फोकस एरिया है उसके आर्टिकल्स अगर बहुत स्मॉल नंबर ऑफ लेस नंबर ऑफ आर्टिकल्स अगर उस जर्नल में पब्लिश होते हैं, लेट अस से लाइक 50 आर्टिकल्स उस जर्नल में पब्लिश होते हैं, आउट ऑफ 50 ओनली 2 to 3 आर्टिकल्स आर फ्रॉम योर स्पेशलाइज्ड एरिया, then that journal is, although that is a very high impact factor journal, but that journal is not going to be useful for you. And therefore you just see like what are your focus area of research, and accordingly make it sure that at least 25 to 50, I would say, I would recommend you like around 40% of research articles should be from your focus area. क्योंकि आप जिस एरिया में काम कर रहे हो, जैसे कि फॉर एग्जांपल सेंसर्स है या जो भी व्हाटएवर आपका जो फोकस एरिया है रिसर्च का, उस रिसर्च एरिया से रिलेटेड कम से कम 40%, 40 to 50% रिसर्च आर्टिकल्स अगर उस जर्नल में पब्लिश हो रहे हैं तो ही वो जर्नल आपके काम का है. दैट इज बाय द वेरी फोर्थ step, very important step is going to be identification of journal in the specified focus area. उसके बाद मान लो आपने रिगरस लिटरेचर किया, नंबर, क्वालिटी, क्वांटिटी एंड क्वालिटी, you have identified, you know like what are the journal metrics, accordingly आपने serious review करके you have identified the very important high impact journals which has got international reputation, and then आपने ये भी देखा कि वो सभी जर्नल्स में ज्यादातर पेपर्स आपके एरिया के पब्लिश हो रहे हैं. सो यू हैव आइडेंटिफाइड जर्नल ऑफ इन journals in the specified focus area as well. Even you complete first 3 steps, if you somehow miss the 4th step, still you will not be able to ensure novelty in your research article. The reason I'm going to tell you why this 4th step is very important, that I'm going to tell you. And the 4th step is identification of potential research group in the specified focus area across the globe. That is across the globe. Why it is important, let me tell you. I will quote one example. Let us say you are one of the research group working in, let us say, Mumbai, and another research you see like in these days, ऐसा तो हो ही सकता है ना कि आप यहाँ पर इंडिया में मुंबई में बैठे हो एक रिसर्च ग्रुप, दूसरा जो है यूनाइटेड स्टेट ऑफ अमेरिका में एक ग्रुप बैठा है, एंड बोथ ऑफ यू स्टार्टेड डूइंग लिटरेचर रिव्यू एग्जैक्टली एट द सेम टाइम. क्योंकि इतना बड़ा ये वर्ड है, तो अभी तो ऐसा हो ही सकता है ना कि 2 रिसर्च ग्रुप एट ए टाइम रिसर्च तो शुरू कर ही सकते हैं, एंड यू मे हैव द आइडेंटिकल रिसर्च टॉपिक एज वेल. दोनों के टॉपिक भी आइडेंटिकल हो सकते हैं. इतनी बड़ी दुनिया में 2 ग्रुप मिलना इतना मुश्किल तो नहीं है, दोनों के रिसर्च टॉपिक भी एक जैसे हो सकते हैं. एंड मैटर ऑफ कोइंसिडेंस, लेट अस अज्यूम दैट बोथ द ग्रुप्स हैव स्टार्टेड लिटरेचर रिव्यू at the same time, let us say January 2026. Both groups are very genuine, very committed, very hardworking. Both have started, both have done very substantial literature review. They have taken care of quality as well as quantity. They have taken care of quality journals, journal of international repute, started doing literature review, done a very rigorous literature review, identify the research gap, accordingly prepared the plan and started working. You see, so in the month of January, both groups have done rigorous literature review, identify research gap, started working. But you see, the group which was sitting in the United States of America, they were having better facilities, better infrastructure, and they could finish their experimentation within couple of months. And then in the month of March, they drafted manuscript. They submitted manuscript in the month of April, and then they publish the manuscript. So the research gap they identified in the month of January, they went ahead, did experiment, collected data, drafted manuscript, submitted it, and got published in the month of April. So the topic which was novel in the month of January is no more novel now in the month of April, because that has already been, that the data related to that field has already been published. Now you see the another group which is sitting in the Mumbai, because of, let us say for example, they don't have a good infrastructure, they got delayed in getting access to the infrastructure. So instead of starting it took couple of more times to initiate their experimentation. So it took more time for collection of the data. And then you see, like, they got data somewhere in the month of March, April. They started drafting manuscript in the month of May, and by the month by the end of May they submitted manuscript. You see, the topic which was novel in the month of January, for both the group, the topic was novel. But when the group which we is sitting in the Mumbai now submitted article in the month of May, and the group which was sitting in US, United States, they already published their data in the month of April. So whenever the other group, this group which is sitting in Mumbai, जब वो मई में डेटा सबमिट करेंगे, तो obviously the data novelty नहीं रहेगी, as a result of that they will not be able to publish their data, because अच्छे journals जो है वो data reject करेंगे, because that similar data has already been published by other group. So that is why this fourth step is very very important. So you see, like, instead of straightway publishing data, अगर ये जो ग्रुप है, ये जो मुंबई में बैठा हुआ है, इन्होंने अगर उनको पहले से ही अगर आइडेंटिफाई कर रखा होगा, कि उनको पता है, मान लो कि वो यूएस में ग्रुप बैठा है, वो भी हमारे रिलेटेड रिसर्च कर रहा है, सो दे विल बी कीपिंग ट्रैक ऑन देयर रिसर्च. सो अप्रैल में उनको पता चल जाएगा कि उन्होंने डेटा ऑलरेडी पब्लिश किया, सो दे विल चेंज some modification in their hypothesis, and still they will be able to publish data in the month of May. So if you could do the track of researchers who are working in similar field, then it will be easier for you to ensure novelty. So therefore, to ensure novelty, these four steps are going to be very very important. And then if you could do these four steps manually on your own, and if you have a substantial data with you, then you can make use of these the AI tools, chat gpt, conscious hai, cloud hai, Gemini hai. These are very good tools, nothing wrong in making use of these tools, but to work on work manually on your data first, and then sharpen your data by using this tool. It will be easier for you to fine tune your data. The second aspect is going to be very very important, social relevance. And I already mentioned earlier that in order to ensure social relevance, if you could do this activity, you will be able to ensure social relevance in your research data. So what you need to do, you do the SWOT analysis, identify your strength, and keep on identifying the societal issues which are pertaining to your area of expertise. So let us say, like, what are your strengths, strength number 1, 2, 3. These are the credibility, your credibility, or your credential, or your strength, and you have identified some 3, 4 societal issues, and see which societal issues you will be able to address based on your strength. And you should identify only that societal issues which is related, which you will be able to address based on your strength. If you could do this, I'm sure the societal relevance can be ensured in your data. And therefore, what we need to do is identify strength, identify the research societal issues, do the proper mapping, and then set the priorities. That is also very important, because let us say you have got more than one strength, and you came to know that कि यार मेरे पास 3-4 स्ट्रेंथ है, ये 3 से 4 प्रॉब्लम्स हैं मेरे इर्द गिर्द में, which are related to मेरी area of expertise, वो मैं एड्रेस कर सकता हूँ. लेकिन फिर प्रायोरिटी आप सेट करिए कि which is I mean कौन सा ज्यादा सबसे बर्निंग प्रॉब्लम है जिसको सॉल्यूशन देना इमीडिएट जरूरी है. सो दैट शुड हैव हाईएस्ट प्रायोरिटी. तो उसको आप पहले प्रायोरिटी दीजिए, एंड दैट शुड बी योर फर्स्ट priority, and should be should you should be able to address that issue. If you could do this kind of mapping, I'm sure the societal relevance can be easily ensured. And third point, which reviewer is always going to see, what kind of credibility you have. तो credibility means, जैसे मैंने बताया कि रिव्यूअर क्या देखेगा, सबसे पहले फर्स्ट ऑथर जो है उसके नाम से सर्च होगा, देखेंगे कि भाई ये फर्स्ट ऑथर जो है इसके नाम पे कुछ रिसर्च आर्टिकल्स है या नहीं। अगर फर्स्ट ऑथर के नहीं है तो देन ऑब्वियसली द पीएचडी एडवाइजर, जो पेपर कम्युनिकेट करते, जो हमारे पीएचडी एडवाइजर, ही इज गोइंग टू बी करस्पॉन्डिंग ऑथर, उनके नाम से सर्च होगा। एंड अगर दोनों के नाम पे अगर कोई डेटा अगर अर्लियर पब्लिश अगर नहीं है, so then it is going to be really challenging for you. That is very, very important. And let us say, like, if you don't have anything published prior, let us say कि आपके रिसर्च एडवाइजर भी नए नए हैं, उनका भी कोई पब्लिकेशन रिकॉर्ड, ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड अच्छा नहीं है, and you also don't have any publication good record, then prior knowledge of the proposed topic that need to be reflected in your research article, but that is going to be very, very challenging. But somehow if you could do that, that is going to be very, very important. So if you don't have prior published work in the on the proposed area, then आप कोशिश करिएगा कि आपका जो prior knowledge है, how it is to be reflected on the research article which you will be drafting for publishing. That is very, very important. And obviously मतलब जो अगर publish articles है तो उसके मतलब कौन से database में है, Scopus, Web of Science, there are many databases available, क्या वो वेब ऑफ साइंस में क्या स्कोपस है, उसके कितने साइटेशंस है, that is also going to be very, very important. So these are three important key aspect which I discussed today. And let me quickly, before I close today, let me quickly do the complete flow of the literature review, because it is always starting with the collection of the literature. And for collection of literature, these are different AI tools which can be used for collection of literature. And each these AI tools has some advantages as well as disadvantages. You should be well versed with that. Once you have those, then you filter those literature based on. I would suggest you to review the review articles first before you start doing literature review. I would recommend you to read couple of good review articles which are related to your area of expertise, and then start collecting research articles. So the filter, let's say like you have collected, let's say 400 500 research articles, filter those research articles, and then you need to do a comprehensive reading. That is very, very important. Whenever we are talking about reading, you need to see, you see all those, let us say you have identified 200 papers, आप 200 के 200 papers नहीं पढ़ सकते. What you need to do is, first of all, you read the abstract, see, like, in abstract आप देखेंगे कि what they have done, how they have done, and what they have achieved. These three aspects are going to be very, very, very important. आप देखिए कि उन्होंने क्या किया है, what were their objectives, क्या methodology उन्होंने use की है, what are the prominent reasons. आप देखिए कि वो जो reasons उनके आए हैं, जो methodology उन्होंने adopt की, objectives उनके जो है, whether these three aspects are related to your set of priorities. If it is the case, then only you should go ahead for reading the detailed research paper. Otherwise, you should not read. And therefore, how to read research paper is again going to be very, very important. You can find my YouTube lecture, how to read research article, because I have already uploaded one of my earlier lecture in which I have already explained how research paper is to be read. So how to read research paper is again going to be very, very important. And then if you do the comprehensive reading, you will be able to identify research gap. So because that is very, very important, because at the end of the day, the ultimate purpose of literature review is going to be the identification of research gap. Once you identify research gap, and then you will be planning your research plan. So first of all, the structure of the research plan, so the plan will always start with the hypothesis. Hypothesis is very, very important. In next lecture, I will tell you how hypothesis is to be formulated, because most of the time students formulated formulate open-ended statement. Open-ended statement is not going to be enough. So prepare the structure, do the manual reviewing, and then you can do the AI review of your content. This is how the AI picture can come into the picture. You see AI tools, I mean, because AI tool can be used to fine tune your all the writing, because you should not ask AI tools to draft research article or draft research this literature review for you. Rather, what you should do is you should follow this workflow on manually on your own, do extensive literature review, identify the gap, prepare the structure, complete draft content, and then fine tune it with the help of these AI tools, which I have mentioned. I'm sure you will be able to publish your data in good journal. So these are some of the tips I would say, because there are many more aspects. It would not be possible to cover all those aspects in single lecture. So I thought like I should tell you only very important tips how to publish data in Journal of International Repute. So these are three very important aspects. Let me review these three: novelty, societal relevance, and credential. I told you how novelty is to be inculcated, how societal relevance is to be ensured in your research article, and how the credibility is to be reflected in our research article. That I have mentioned. In next lecture, I will tell you much more about the next point in the research manuscript. Now, this is the MS Global Academic Solution, because after my superannuation, I started this consultancy service. This is not a free service, but this is you will get all these services with very substantial uh, rate, because we always guide student for overseas education as well. Because what I observed is during these 38 years, I visited many overseas countries, including United States of America, Australia, or many European countries, many Asian countries as well, and came to know that there are very good opportunities for the student for doing undergraduate studies, postgraduate, as well as PhD. And there are numerous number of scholarships also available. But unfortunately, the many students are not aware of this. बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट को पता ही नहीं है कि स्कॉलरशिप भी मिलते हैं. एंड जैसे कि यूरोपियन, देर आर मेनी यूरोपियन कंट्रीज, पर्टिकुलरली जर्मनी एंड ऑस्ट्रिया, जहां पर ट्यूशन फीस ऑलमोस्ट नहीं के बराबर है. देर आर मेनी अपॉर्चुनिटीज फॉर द स्टूडेंट फॉर डूइंग पार्ट टाइम जॉब. वो भी ऑप्शंस लोगों को पता नहीं है, स्टूडेंट को पता नहीं है. तो वी थॉट लाइक वी शुड प्रोवाइड द कंसल्टेंसी फॉर दो स्टूडेंट, जो जो स्टूडेंट जिनके पास बहुत ज्यादा पैसा नहीं है, सब्सटेंशियल मतलब कंसेशनल रेट पे हम ये सर्विस शुरू करेंगे. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, वी आल्सो हेल्प स्टूडेंट, रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स एंड टीचर्स for drafting research papers, research manuscript, research proposals, and we are also helping institutions for NAC accreditation, NBA accreditation, and other institution development plan as well. So this survey, you can contact me on this mobile number 9422291987 if it is if you think that my services are required. So thank you very much. With this, I am going to stop here, and in the next lecture, I'm going to tell you much more points about how to publish manuscript in the quality journals.